If you are just joining us, I just have everyone make a copy of all of the documents and we're getting into the offer. So having an offer is very important. You can always change it at any time. But here's why I like the notion of having one simple offer. When you are thinking about marketing yourself and branding yourself, it takes around, this is like a recent study, it takes people 18 times 18 times of seeing you say, hey, I do this. Hey, I do this. Hey, I do this to actually purchase something from you. Add that to the fact that they only see 13% of what you post, anyways. So if you do 100 posts, people are only going to see 13 of them. We want to be very clear that there is one solution, one simple offer, that there is one thing to buy, especially at the beginning, because a confused mind can say no, and it creates a lot of decision fatigue. Now, there are some situations where we teeter on this. I know some of you guys do one-on-one in group as well. So we just need to be really strategic about when you are selling each offer. Simple sells. So when you're thinking about crafting your high value offer, there are 4 questions I want you to ask yourself. And I want you to continue to ask yourself, even though you have these pillars, I want this document to be something that you have with you as you are marketing, as you are thinking about your clients. I want it to be a very like a core piece of what you do every day. So I want you to be like, okay, what problem am I solving? How am I the answer to this problem? Who is the perfect person for this problem? And why is it important that their problem is solved? So we're going to keep going through and just being like, okay, why is this important to them? And especially as you're doing your marketing, which is coming next week, I want you to be focusing on that. And again, lots of like, we're progressing, not perfecting anything here. So when I was thinking about the entirety, you're going to have the what, how, who, why for your whole business. So it's like, I help keep people create simple, successful, and enjoyable businesses. You're going to refine your foundation, simplify your systems, launch a profitable product, and plan for a fulfilling future. And I think it works for best for solopreneurs, but you can also do this if you have employees. And it's going to manage your mind, resources, and methods for you to enjoy your business. Now, for the timeline of your program, I know a couple of you guys actually changed your timeline on our consult call, which is very interesting. I was like, I like that though. I'm like, that was fun. So I think that we want to be sure that your ideal customer would get the results within the program. Now, some people like shy away from from a longer program. I think I enjoy longer programs. I think it's like, okay, I'm going to be with you for an extended period of time. It gives you a little bit more buffer room. Then we want to think about what price would be an absolute steal. Like what would be ridiculous, like for people to just like work with you and they would be like, oh my gosh, of course. Now we don't want to undercharge in a way that makes you a non-profitable business, but all of you guys have good pricing and it does seem like it feels very easy for you guys to sell. So we want to make sure that you're feeling sold on it, especially when you go into consults, and that you're of course over delivering your client for your clients. We want to make sure that your customers are coming back, that they're referring their friends, they're giving you testimonials. All of those things are really important when you are thinking about your timeline and your pricing. So the way I like to think about this is like you are creating a movement. You are going through and you are going and creating this change in the world. All of us are trying to make the world a better place. So we want to think about like what is going to be something that like a lot of people are going to get on board with. And then a good adjective is like who it's for and the ultimate result, time frame, or cost. So it's like the 3-month transformation, 200K mastermind, online coach accelerator, profitable yoga boss group, get over your ex program, the career fulfillment initiative. All those are really jazzy and they create notoriety. It's crazy, but when you put the word the in front of anything, it really makes people hype, makes them excited. It's kind of crazy, but it really is something that will help you stand out. And that is something that we want to do. So when you are naming with your offer, you can be like, okay, who it's for, the adjective, ultimate result. And again, that's where thesource.com comes in handy. And when you're thinking about why we use these core pillars, like I've been harping on, you're going to use these pillars for your marketing. You're going to use it while you're selling, and you're going to use it for your delivery, which is actually the next slideshow that we're going to get into today. So again, a way that you can think about this, I started with the process. I didn't necessarily start with the problem, but you can do it in any which way. And a lot of you guys have now done this, but what we want to do is we want to think about what are the things that I want to teach my clients when they leave working with me, what are they going to come away with? And then what is their problem because of that? So it's like they're feeling stressed. We solve for the root cause of stress. That's why I taught them the model, and they will actually enjoy their jobs. So this is kind of like the process I went through when I developed the Career Fulfillment Initiative. And then I just filled in the blanks. And it was like very quick and easy. You guys have seen like when I can do this for all of y'all's businesses in like an hour, which is pretty exciting. So it's very important to keep that in mind. And then we want to create topics that are something that is neutral for the most part, that someone can determine where they want to go. So we want this to be different. Now, I actually have redone my process, and I'm going to share with you my example in just a moment, but I actually made the process something a little bit different than when I initially made these videos as well. So again, like I said, it's like the pillars are going to be the weekly topics. We're going to make your marketing plan next week, your marketing calendar. You're going to talk about a topic a week. Very simple, but so awesome for positioning and also like search engine optimization. You want to have the same keywords. If people are looking for them, that's what we want these topics to be. We want them to be like something that somebody is Googling actively to solve a problem. So that is helpful. Oh man. And then you also want to be doing the core 4 or these core pillars. We want them to be on your sales page. If you have a website, we also want them on your Instagram. We want them on your social. I like to put it in a grid of 3. Then we also are going to be talking about how you deliver to your clients, that you're constantly tracking the results in the same pillars. Now, I have been a part of programs that weren't really clear about these pillars. And because of that, the marketing was wonky, the selling was wonky, and the delivery was wonky. People didn't really feel like they got what they came there for. And if you are really clear about your core pillars, you can actually make sure that people from start to finish within the front end of your business, they're going to get exactly what they came there for. So you guys are doing amazing. Let's get into, are there any questions about this before I get into delivery? Yes, Armini.
So there's the offer and then the core pillars. What comes first? It's all together, like how it
all together. Your offer is what your core pillars support. So your offer as a whole would be the name of your program entirely, the Career Fulfillment Initiative. The pillars support that overall, like if you think about like it's like that's the whole house, and then the columns in the house would be burnout, time management, confidence, work-life balance, and 10-year plan. Does that like, so it's like the overarching offer is the one name, the one timeline, the one price, and then the pillars are the things that support that within your marketing, selling, and delivering as you go. Yes, Nadia.
Hey, so I was like fleshing out, I know we did it on our call, but I was like fleshing it out and like when I was looking at watching this video. And like I like how you've got like your process is just like one thing, like one concept or whatever it is you're teaching. But in my mind, I'm like, I've got so many things for each of the pillars I'm like that I would want to teach them or like cover with them. So I don't know if I'm in my head, it's becoming more. Do you know what I mean? It's like yours seems so simple, but in my process, I'm like, yeah, but they need to know this and they need to know this and so on and so forth. Is that too much?
It is not, but if you think about on a sales call, you want to get a very concrete thing, and we're going to get into sales soon as well. But we want to talk to them and we want to give them a very clear like process. The reasoning, that's why I was saying, excellent thing to bring up. I shifted mine. So because a lot of people, when I was talking about the model, it was like, I was like, oh, you reprogram your subconscious. Monday, hour one, boundaries and wheel of life. We want
Yeah.
your process to be something that you infer from the context clues around the pillar. So we want to make these things that are kind of linked to the solution and result. And we can coach on that. We can pull up your pillars and like talk about that. But for my pillar of marketing, I went through this. This is my updated pillars that I have. If you look in the classroom, it's my examples right here. So you guys can see it and refer back to it because it's not in the PowerPoint. But within marketing, I was like, the problem is they feel like they're speaking to a void. They're overwhelmed, don't know what to say. The solution is they're going to need to create notoriety. This is what all you guys are doing, and stand out in your industry by having core pillars to speak to and plan for. Then I teach you guys you're going to learn how to do testimonials today. We're going to talk about how to do the calendar next week. We're going to talk about warm, hot, and cold leads. There's so much that goes into marketing. But I was like, what can I say to someone on a consult? And you guys actually did not get these words because I updated this week, which is fun. But it's like I was like, they need to be effective. They need to have better positioning. And there is lots of methods that I teach behind that. So I just put a little plural. So it's the effective positioning methods. The end piece, we want to start with we want to end with a intriguing word that is clear and is like a plan, a step, method, system, instead of having to over explain because we want the talking more of the time. Great question. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, like, well, so I get that, and right, we named like my pieces. I can't remember exactly off the top of my head what it was, but it was like the engagement method or something like that. I can't remember. So it was like a title, but I guess it just in my head, I'm like, I'm trying to get clear on all the pieces that I would teach them or like coach through or whatever. Like that doesn't need to be in this. It's just I have it like bullet pointed under it because I'm trying to remind myself like what would I include in this method. Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely. So you could do it like this.
Yeah, that's kind of like, and I'm like, is that okay? Like I wouldn't necessarily say all of it to them, but I need to articulate it in a way that encompasses this is what we're going to cover.
Yes. And when that is like one of the things like, because you want to be like, because for me, what I do is I get so into the how because I'm like, everybody wants to know the how because I like to know the how. But we're going to talk about how, please list those if you guys have those and those ideas, because when we talk about presenting, which is week 6, you are going to take those and you're going to make a grid and we're going to get clear on what topics are webinar topics, what topics are post topics underneath your overarching pillars. So if you have it here, then it'll make it easier. Week 6. Awesome question. Any other questions? Also, y'all know I'm not great with words, so if you guys have better words for me, let me know. All right. So awesome. Okay. So within this, we want to ensure that every single client that comes to you has an awesome experience, which I think that the reason I start with this as the first part of the 6 essentials is because you guys are doing an amazing job already. Like you already, like you have experience in this area, you know how to help your people. This is just a way that we can make it even better. So this is just like elevating what you're already doing, which is great, along with talking about testimonials. So when we are going to be talking about, we want to undercharge and over deliver. I want you guys to feel like you're getting 3K of value every single call. That's my goal. I'm like, I want to make sure that you feel like you are just like, oh my gosh, this is absolutely going to make me 3K. I will get a client from learning this. So I want you guys to feel like that too when you are with your clients, when you're with your people. that they are just like so happy and overjoyed. We're also going to talk about the feedback and tracking progress forms. Those are really important. And I know a lot of you guys have questions about that. If you haven't watched the video yet, I'll explain that. To testimonials. These are super important. We're going to talk about how to collect testimonials, even if you haven't had necessarily clients that you've worked with for the full time yet. Even then, you still want to have testimonials. And then we're not going to do an offer workshop, but well, we can if you guys need. So when we are thinking about over delivering, you want to think about whether we are helping people save time, money, or energy by working with you. So what are they gleaning from working with you in your offer? Now, I want you to, the interesting thing is that a lot of times with a lot of programs, you're offering something that's intangible. So when you make your pillars, we're making that intangible result something that we can actually see and track, like confidence. You can't see and touch it. You can't be like, I did a blood test and I'm more confident for sure. But when you have your clients, they're going to define what more confident looks like for them. And you're going to be able to track their results over time. So we want to, again, this is all about branding today. You are building this personal brand of like who I want to be in your industry. So it's like a lot of these like 2K for 2K, 90 days to get over your ex, lose the last 10 pounds. Those are very specific days. And I think a lot of us at this stage in your business, you get caught up on them, right? We want to create notoriety, but we also don't want to link you to a very tangible result that feels very scary. It's like, because we won't be like, oh, you will like make your money back in 30 days. That's what 2K for 2K does. And a lot of us get stuck on that. And I want to talk to you about how you over deliver results by creating intangible pillars. So we want, when you are thinking about those intangible pillars, they are, a lot of people are like, oh, well, they're in it for the number on the scale, or they're in it for a certain income, right? But really what's happening is they want to feel better. People want to feel better. They want to feel safe, certain, secure. They want to experience that. And that is what you guys give them. You give them that feeling of their life will be better because they work with you. Now, we want to make sure that we're tracking that. So the issue, and I'm going to just bop around on a page for just a moment so you guys can see this. Where do it? So the issue that I found is that I can't copy folders for you because everybody would have my pretty color coded folders if I could make it happen. The other issue is I can't copy forms. So I can't copy a form for you. You have to make it on your own, which is very annoying. However, I have a video for that. So I'm like, if you need an example and if you need to know how to make a form, those are videos that are accessible for you later. But I did give you the feedback prompts. So what I did is I copied and pasted these into a form, and I wanted to make sure I was getting feedback. So that's like what these examples are. It's like name, how satisfied are you, what's working, what could be improved, what can I do differently, and other feedback. None of us are perfect humans. Sad, I know, but we are perfectly imperfect and we're trying the best we can. And we really want to help people. And what happens is we want to always be like growing and learning from everything. So I'm going to be posting the feedback. I usually do it on the weeks that if I'm not here, but for this round, I want to get your feedback every single month. So at the end of the month, I want to be hearing what's working, what's not working, what could be improved for you. I want to make sure that this is like an awesome experience for you. And that's something I want to do with my clients as well. So that is a way that you can do that. If you're working with clients one-on-one, you can send them the feedback form and make it anonymous every month. You can schedule an email like that. And again, if you're not earning, you're learning. And so you're getting better every time. Fun little saying. The other thing that is big is that we want to track progress. Clients want to see how far they've come and continue buying from you because they're seeing improvement. And I'm like, literally, they are seeing improvement. That is where the tracker comes in. So at the top, you're going to put your program name here. you can add some rows if you want to delete rows, add rows. And I like to have, with my one-on-one clients, I like to have goals for them that they're working towards every month. And then that is tracked here. And then the pillars go here. I do this at the end of every coaching call with my one-on-one clients. You guys do it at the beginning of your coaching calls. So that is with the forms. I was like, Michaela, I had yours pulled up, but that is why I think this is so important. I want to know what you are implementing. I want to know your wins. I want to know how you're feeling about these things. And at this point, I do have 2 data points for every single person on your spreadsheet, which is great. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back in to everyone's spreadsheet on, I think I have it on Thursday. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and make your charts for you. So you don't need to do that in this group. You'll still be able to see progress, and I'll be checking in with you guys about it. But I couldn't do that until there were 2 data points. So if you didn't fill out your form last week, I think everybody did, but make sure you fill out your form so I can actually make your jazzy charts. If you have a group, you can take the same questions that I did, change it for your group, and you can here's how you track the video explanation of how to make that chart is here. So if you would like to do that for your clients, that is there for you. I just want to show you guys where all that was, because that was a lot of stuff. And I'll get to questions after I finish this, if there are any. Yes, I think that we all do get worried about promising too much, for sure. So again, this is short and simple. How satisfied are you? What's working? What's not working? What can you do differently? Again, make it easy on yourself. And that's what it would look like. And that's what yours is going to look like. It'll come out on the 24th. The other thing is that progress tracker. We want to make sure that you're using those core pillars so that everyone is like, oh, I can actually see that I'm getting results. And I did this, like it takes like not even 2 minutes at the end of a call, but this is the way I like to do it with my clients. And then you can actually see their growth. Now, the other important piece of it, so this is like during, as they're progressing, that is what the test, the feedback, and the weekly tracker are for. Then we want to do something at the end of the program. So you can do the feedback form at the end, of course. And then here are some really important facts. Word of mouth is how a lot of businesses are going to grow as they go. And it's actually 89%. So it's a ridiculous amount of people need to see a testimonial to buy. So many people are amazing at what they do, and they don't have testimonials on their page. Like I was just talking with one of my friends last night, and I'm like, I don't see any testimonials on your page, Jude. I was like, I think you've got like all these excited people, but they just don't trust you. And it's interesting because she has a ton more followers than I do, a way bigger email list. I have 330 people on my email list, and I've surpassed 6 figures this year. I have 2,500 followers, same result. It's not, and my offers also aren't like super high ticket either. Like my one-on-one, it's changing, but it was 77,500, and this is 3K. Like, it's not like I'm charging like 30K like some other coaches for one-on-one. It's like, that's like a very small amount. So when you're thinking about it, it's like, this is why I think so many people come to me and they're like already sold. And like, actually I was on a call with somebody, and I was like, oh, and they were like, do you have any reviews or testimonies? So I was like, look, I was like, I have a whole, just any third person. It's very easy to see. And it's like, because I believe so much in what I offer, I try and over deliver for you guys in every possible way that I can. And this is like the biggest thing that is missing from so many pages. Now, and I like switch these around a little bit for your Google document, but I want you guys collecting testimonials. This is great for your marketing. Video is awesome. It's like people trust a video more than just words. It's like, I would say the rank of like most important to least important would be video, then picture, then name. So we want to make sure that we're including all those, again, to build trust. Now, at the beginning of my business, I just asked my clients to do it like you guys are doing, like while they were in the program. Why did you sign up to work with me? So that people could, like, I was at least posting something like, hey, somebody is working with me. Another piece of this is you could, if you've done like peer coaching with a friend, everybody in here, hence why you're doing the contact sheet. If you would like to give testimonials for each other and be like, I worked with Morgan once and she's just awesome. She's such a positive light. Even if you didn't work with her necessarily on your program, you still are a personal brand. People want to be sold on you as a person. Okay. And the result. We're doing both. That's what the other piece of the marketing is. But you want to be selling yourself as a person, not like in a creepy way. Ew. But like, it's like you want to be like selling yourself and being like, hey, I am a real person. And it is very important that you know that I'm ready and willing to help you. I will answer these questions in just a second. And again, focus on progress, not perfection. Evidently, I had this written twice. And I'm so proud of you. Okay, so now there were questions. I got it. Let me see. Okay, so the video about the progress tracker, how to make that little graph is here. It's in the middle. So this is a Google form example, video explanation on tracking of progress charts in a spreadsheet. Wow, that's, could that be more of a mouthful? I don't think so. The other thing that I have in here, okay, and then the other question was when to collect the after reviews when the group is lifetime. I would just like what I did at the beginning, you can ask for people in the beginning. And then what I like to do is I like to collect testimonials even before someone is finished with me, if they got a huge win. So like if you guys saw Teresia, she is actually a new client. She started with me. If anyone was on that 6-figure strategy webinar, she came on and was like, I'm 2 months in and I've already got a client. I quit my job. It was like this living, breathing testimonial, which was so freaking cool. I've never done that before. My friend Janae told me to do it like 2 days before. And I was like, yes, so good. So within that, I would say like whenever there's a big win, whenever there's a huge breakthrough, you can be like, hey, I really want to help a lot of people. Would you mind sharing about this so that I can help other people? It really helps. 89% of people need to see it to buy if you feel comfortable. No pressure ever, but if you've gotten results, I would love a quick video. It takes like a minute, 30 seconds if you have like, which is like something like, hey, it worked, doing great, and go. That's all that you need, but it really does. I mean, like if you look at my profile, I'm like, we got Deb. This is actually Stephanie. We didn't do a picture of her, but Sarah, it's like you just see other humans' faces. Andrea, like you just see the humans and you're like, oh, she gets results for not just herself, which is important. The other thing, for the pillars, I was like, I had this pulled up for not just testimonials. You can put the pillars as a pinned thing. Not everyone is going to be using Instagram. You do not need to have Instagram to use it. However, if you're going to pin something, I like to create just an overview of the program in a video, and then some sort of way for people to opt in with you. This is typically going to be a presentation. It could be a freebie. We will be talking about that later, but that is the way I like to start my grid of 9. There's your testimonial template. Ask the humans. That was a lot, but I feel like that was really, again, these are the longer ones because it's at the beginning. Are there any questions? No. All right, people, let's fucking go. Sorry for children. Sorry. It's like, let's go. I really hope no child heard that. I was like, I'm working on it. I used to swear like a sailor, but I can like teacher it up and like ready to roll. Okay.
I have a question, Megan.
Yes.
We were talking about the tracker, the progress tracker. And then the issue is that when I'm doing it myself, I forget about my initial rating. So I feel I'm just making something. I mean, I know I'm still not there, but like
Oh, for the
How
group,
would you, what would you recommend so clients always have in mind how they started?
I show it up. I put it up for them, and I'm sharing my screen.
So from the consultation, like when you have a first line already.
Yeah. So you're like,
Okay. Okay,
man.
that makes sense. And for the goals, you do it like during one of the first calls too, the initial one,
Great question.
the first session.
So I shared also because in our coaching session, our one-on-one for those pillars, we were talking about how I structure a coaching call. Since 9 of you are coaches, I'll tell you about how I structure a coaching call, just so you guys like have an idea of it. But you don't need to be a coach to me in this morning. I was like, I got you. But I like to start with wins. So each week, and like this is totally optional. I'm not teaching you guys how to be coaches or anything like that. But for me, I know that it takes 5 positive thoughts to replace every negative thought. So I will always have people come in and tell me their wins of the past week. I also, which is freaking helpful. If you guys have seen me like doing like the screenshot of the win and like posting it with a nice background. If you guys, yeah, okay. So like I will show you guys what that looks like. I think I did one yesterday. Yeah, okay. So it's like I'll have like a nice background and I'll be like, it's a text. And it's like, oh, but it's not a text. I texted myself some win from like a client. It's like I did my first coaching workshop. Actually, Armani, I think that was you. So it's like that's helpful for again, people building that know, like, and trust. And I tell like my one-on-one clients, you guys know I'm doing that, but like, and you want to be not just sharing their wins and if they don't know, but I always like to do it anonymously. And so that's helpful. And then what worked, what could use improvement, and what do we want to do differently? Same with the feedback form, but then I coach on whatever needs improvement, usually. And then so that's like 5 minutes, 30-ish minutes of coaching. And then I take 5 minutes for them to tell me a breakthrough because I want them to like be like, coaching makes me better. What is something that I'm taking away that was a big shift in my mindset? It literally just says breakthroughs at the top. So I like have it at the top of the page. And then I have the implementation is the same thing I'm doing with you guys. So it's like, I want you guys to like have a goal every week and I can like check in with you and be like, hey, how did it go with the thing? It like gives us a point to talk to if we need to outside of it. Breakthroughs here, implementation here. It's literally just for the implementation, it could be something we talked about. So maybe like y'all's implementation goal for this week would be to customize a template for feedback or send a testimonial template to somebody. That could be something that you could do for implementation, or it could be something completely unrelated, like, man, I need to talk to my accountant. And then the weekly tracker is above, and that's how I finish it up every time with my one-on-ones. That's the last thing I do with them. Really good question.
What about the goals? Do you set up at the beginning or you refine them every month?
The goals. Oh, the goals. The at the top
The
within.
month, yeah.
Yeah. So I'll just be like, okay, we're at 4, and I'll be like, okay, the month is up. I'll take like maybe another extra minute. It's like, okay, what do you want to do this upcoming month? What's your next goal? Where do you want to progress? That's what goes up here.
So it's not like a goal related to one of our pillars, like they really determine it.
It could be. It could be like, so if we look at your pillars, I was like, I've got most of y'all's pillars here. I was like, here we are, right? So it's like, it could be related to, because I know you're like me, you like a pillar for a month to talk about each pillar. So that could be a great way that you could manage it too. You could be like, okay, I've got my direction. It's like, what's a goal that you want to have within your direction? It's like, okay, I want to leave this month. We're going to make a decision and we're going to actually have a direction about what we want our life to look like. And then month 2, you will have the future plan completed. After it's like you'll have your the thriving life roadmap you will have after this month. And then for work-life balance, it's like I'm going to teach you calendaring. And Nadia, are you seeing this is like these are the subsets? So you guys can start doing that too. It's like calendaring. And then by the end of this month, you are going to learn stress management. And I think that we changed it. Yeah. So stress came first, work-life balance, direction, and all that. So you can make it like that. if you want to, but like it doesn't need to be that rigid with the one-on-ones. Maybe for group, but I'm not having you guys set group goals because everyone's kind of in a different place in their business. Maybe I will in the future. That's a good question. Like we don't have monthly goals that you guys are like working towards. Maybe I'll add that for the next round. Who knows? But does that make sense? Are you feeling good? Excellent. Maria, hello, beautiful.
Hi. I thought that there was a document that helped you track like how many sessions you had left with.
That's coming. Wait,
Is that in a different system?
that's the we're gonna get into that in the monthly checklist. So that's where you go and you can go back to that if you need it, not to overwhelm, but it is just so you know what's coming. One of the things that I realized was an issue is people didn't know when your clients were done, which is a problem. So that I think that's in the projections. Pretty sure that's this one. It's coming week 9, as you guys can see. But like what I realized is I need to see how many clients, how many sessions, what was upcoming, their end date, how much they had paid, all that jazz. I just didn't want to overwhelm the fuck out of you all, but like this is already a lot of information, but that's coming. So you guys will actually.
Yeah, I don't want to overwhelm anyone either, but I was thinking about that with one of my clients, and it was something that I wanted to implement.
Yeah, well, it's interesting because I decided to resign with them, but they let me know like the day of. They were like, it's our last session. And I was like, oh shit. I was like, I was not realizing that. And I didn't have 10K just handy. And I was like, okay. And I was just kind of like, okay, you know what? I really feel like I need this. So that happened. And I'm in another group program. And you guys are all in the same timeline, but it's an evergreen group. And they were like, 10/19, Megan's done. And I was like, what? I was like, I thought I just joined. No. And so it was just like one of those things that you guys definitely might probably already have a way that you're tracking your timeline of your clients and when they're finishing. But that is something that I realized was like a huge part of client delivery, because people want time to make the decision. Are your prices going up? Do they need to save for that? Or if they're finishing, like having that renewal call with them, I think that is like, essentially I'm like, okay, what worked, what didn't work, what are you going to do differently in that last session or in 4 weeks out. I don't think I said this anywhere, which is good to know. So within 4 weeks out before they leave, I like to have the renewal call. I text them and I'm like, hey, so excited to celebrate you and your progress. And I want to let you know about on this next week, we're going to be thinking about your next 6 months or 3 months or whatever your timeline is. So I'm going to go in and I'll say my renewal call. I'll put that information in after this call. So I have that in my, sorry, I know I'm jumping around a lot. I got feedback that I jump around too much in the past. And I was like, sorry, totally messing with that right now. But I think I do it for like the one-on-one calls. Yeah, here's the blank renewal. So I say, hey, just wanted to give you a heads up. We're going to be celebrating you. And then if there's a price increase, please let them know. Like that happened. That's it. Literally, like I just kind of thought that's the way it was, but it was like, then we're finding out what are their future goals. Do you want to continue working with me? Because if you want to continue working with me, I'm like, we don't need to be like as like, okay, these next 3 sessions are gonna freaking count. But if it's like this is their last 3 sessions with you, you want to know and you want to be like, okay, it's like, do you have everything you need? You're good to go, and you can set them and go free. Great question, Morgan.
Okay, so my question is if you have any advice on, so I guess background, my business is not up and running yet. So I'm thinking that my pillars as I'm in the planning phase they're going to end up changing into pillars once I have active clients. And do you have any advice on how to choose those pillars when you're still in the like creation and planning phase?
So you guys, how many times I have done the pillars for this program just for a moment. I was like here, and then we've got here, and then I've changed it literally yesterday with to this. I was like, all of my pillars have changed pretty frequently. You can have just an idea of what kind of things that you want to help somebody with, and you don't need to be super like, you are going to be compelling enough. Most businesses don't even have pillars. Like most, I know like $1 million businesses that do not have pillars. However, just so you guys can see how the old consult call for this group was the first time I did it, Demetria was on it. I was like, what are your revenue goals? And she was like, what is my goal? Or how do I feel about it? I'm like, yes. She was just like, okay. And then I was like, what about stress management and confidence running your business? I was like, how do you feel about both of those things? And she's like, they're two very different things. And I said, I agree. And I'm concerned. And I was like, well, and so I just got like, it was so bad, guys. It was like systems, time, and financial. I was like, people were like, fine, time, great, but finances, no. Future plan / ability to achieve goals. I'm not kidding you. Without the cross out, I did 14 consults with this at the very beginning. And it was, people were just like, fuck. Well, what happened is I was just like, I know I can help you. I really know I can help you. I know this isn't super clear, but I'm pretty sure I'm what you need right now. And it's just going to get clearer and clearer as you go. You have to be, that's where that progress versus perfection. Definitely just be like, okay, it's like, this is the best guess I have for right now. If something goes really like wrong, I can always change it. Like for me, manage changed in this past round. It changed from manage your whole business, which is like the whole purpose of the program, to manage leads, which is actually what I teach in the manage pillar. And I was like, oh, that was a big snafu, but still I was able to help a lot of people. Didn't need to have that clarity to help people. And now it just keeps getting better. But that was a really good question. Did that answer your question? And we've got our one-on-one this week too. So we'll get clearer.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, great. Great. I want to say, and you guys saw in class. So I actually added the renewal call thing. It's in the classroom now. So if you guys want to do renewal calls, it is here. And if you guys want to know how I like get it to force a copy, you just have to go into the hyperlink and literally write the word copy. And I forgot to do that. So then it'll force a copy for you guys. If you want to, you don't need to. Any questions? Well, greatness. Let's get started in coaching then. Bring anything and everything. Q4 is well underway. I know it's only our second call, so people like, I know it can feel weird to share at the very beginning. Anybody?
All right, I'll go.
Okay, great. Thanks, Sarah.
I
What?
literally have not heard anything that you've said today because there's just like so much occupying my mind with just, I got divorced this week. I have a new boyfriend. Like there's just, let's talk about what some of your strategies and just some of your tips for when we have things going on that life just like my brain gets so focused on thinking about what's going on in my life, it's so hard to concentrate on anything else.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Well,
Buddy.
unmarried week, I know this is a big one. I've had many friends. My partner also is getting unmarried this week, and I'm like, it's a lot. It's a lot. So I'm just sending so much love to you. I know this is a lot. And this within my business, I have gone through a breakup. I have gone of 8 years. I have gone through a move. There was also like just this random thing that happened actually 2 years ago in like 4 days. Like it was like a very traumatic thing that happened. So there are two things that I have to tell you for this. You really want to get to know yourself. And this is just going to be one of the things that like life doesn't stop happening when you have a business. So there are going to be things that you're like, well, this sucks, but I'm not going to like, I'm not necessarily there's like a threshold. There's going to be like if you're at like a 5 on the threshold, you can make a choice and you can be like, I need to take some time and it just like literally just like process these emotions and these kind of things. That's like 0 to 5. That's where I would say that happens. 5 to 10 is where you're like, okay, I'm like not a 10. I'm not feeling great right now, but I want to be able to do something to move the dial forward. When I'm in like the 3 to 7 stage, I find that like doing monotonous work is very helpful. Like if I can just like, and that's where a lot of like the finances and stuff will come in like weeks on. But if I'm like just not feeling it, I'm just like, I'll just like do something to move the dial forward, even if it's not related. So like one of these past weekends, I literally like just went in and I just did all of my launch, every single post and every single reel. I just did in one day. I was just like, I feel like horrible. And I'm like, I'm just going to do all this stuff and I'm going to do it for this launch as well. And this is coming later on. But for you guys, like just having something monotonous that you can do to move the dial forward. Something like that could be making the copies and customizing the templates. It's mindless. It's just something to do. And you're just like, and I would say 4 to 7. That's kind of like a drastic stage. I would say 3 to 5 is like where I like monotonous. This is, I would say when I'm at a 1 to 3, I don't work. I like takes time off and I'm like, nope, this isn't happening today. And that's okay. If I'm at a 6 to 7, I'll do other, like this is busy work kind of like just like stuff that you will like probably hire like a VA or somebody to do later, like cleaning out emails, like even stuff like that. Like it's like, okay, I'm moving the dial forward. I'm like checking stuff. 6 to 7 is where I'll do stuff that's like not necessarily busy work, but like something more like not full mind work. I don't know, because it's not mindless, but it's like this is where I'll find like I might write my posts sometimes and I'll be like, because I'll have the videos already and I'll be like, I'm like, at least I was in a positive place back then. So I'm like, I'll be able to like use talk to type and just get that done. This is where I'll be like, maybe I'll like I redid every module last week. And so that's where it's like, it requires some mind, but you don't need to be like fully present. And then like when I'm at like an 8 to 10, this is where I like dive in and I'm doing like this is also like networking and stuff. It's like, I'll just be like, oh, I'm just going to talk to some people today. This is where I like try and if I am like try and get my brain in that place to like make videos and like that kind of stuff. When I like want to be on. I also try and coach myself to try and like be like pushing there in the morning. So it's like I coach myself and I'm like, if I notice I'm like trying to make a video and I notice myself slipping to like a 3-5, I'm like, pause, let me just do some thought work. I'm like, because I know I've done it where I've tried to push myself to make videos when I'm here. And what I've found is like, it takes me so much longer. But I totally get that. And I love you and you're doing awesome. So it's like, keep moving the dial forward. what's come up with this? And then like, what are some things that you have experienced in the past that have helped?
Yeah, well, it's interesting because in thinking back, over the last year, which has been really challenging with the breakup and divorce and stuff, it's fascinating because even throughout that whole entire stressful process, I can remember the morning I got the email from my ex-husband saying he wasn't coming back. Like, I coached 15 people that day. Like 10 minutes after I got the email, I'm coaching. I'm coaching, 40, 50 people a week through that whole entire process. So I certainly have built the muscle of knowing that I can do it, but it felt easier to do it because I had to. Like, there was no way I was going to not be on schedule and show up for the clients that had already booked. But when it comes to doing, busy work or, anything on, between the 3 and the 10, when I'm stressed like that, it's weird. Like, I feel like I've been at a 1 to 3 and still been able to show up to coach. But when it's just this stuff, it's like, no, I just want to run away. So I hear what you're saying. I know how to do all of this stuff. But yeah, I think you're right. I know, like, today I'm between a 1 and a 3, but I know I can get between a 3 and a 5 before our call later.
Yeah.
Like, I do that.
Well, and one of the things that I want to encourage you like to do is like when you're like at a 1 and a 3, like knowing that like that is also like taking time for yourself is progress as well. And being like, hey, like that's a good thing. Another thing that's really powerful that I don't always do a lot of is like sharing when you're in it. So if you scroll back to 2021, actually like, so I had this 10-year plan webinar planned on Monday. My partner broke up with me and was like, move out on Sunday. And I had to actually physically move out and back into my parents' house on Tuesday. And I was like, I could cancel this webinar, but I'm like, I'm not going to let him have this. And so I got to like 40 minutes in, and it was also about developing your 10-year plan that I had centered my life around this guy. And so I was literally just like, and one of my friends like got a couple of friends to join. It was very sweet, but I literally like got to that 40-minute point. And I was like, I pushed through, got the content out, and then I cried in a puddle. And I was like, yep. It's like, it was a whole thing. So one of the things that I did in that time, first off, I shared very openly. I was like, this is what's going on. What a testament to coaching that I'm actually like having a conversation with you on my story today, because I feel like my heart has been ripped out and I am very sad. But so I did a ton of videos like that at the beginning. It actually like helped me to verbally process, I think. The other thing is with the wonderful humans in this group, I find that if I have an appointment in the morning, then I like get into that state and I'm like, all right, I can do stuff now. Like after I have that one call, I'm like, all right, I'll do something now. So maybe what we could like, if you guys want, there's no pressure. This is not a part of like the agreement in this to be in this group. You do not have to like be friends at all, but I would love for you guys to be friends. And then you could like schedule, if you're like, oh my gosh, mornings are the worst for me, I don't do this, post in the thread and be like, hey, can someone just get on a Zoom call with me and just be like a phantom friend? It's like phantom partnering. There's an actual term for it, but it actually helps with ADHD a lot. And then you can be like, okay, we're both gonna do this today. It's like, can you like do that? I think that could be really helpful. I do that with a lot of my peers as well. I'm like, y'all, I'm in it. Can somebody help me? So that's when, like in the first week I talked about like you can co-regulate and self-regulate. So like the self-regulation coaching, very important. And the co-regulating means like working with other people. And
yeah, and you remind me that I do absolutely have that support system among all my coach friends. And you also remind me that, yeah, even during the really painful breakup time, I was posting every day and I was talking about it. And that was cathartic. And you're reminding me now that what I'm experiencing today speaks directly to my audience. You
I
know,
know.
'cause-
I was like, what? Not that this is like an opportune moment, but as a healing through heartbreak coach, I'm like, man, like this is a very time is that didn't those weren't words. I'm like, this is a time. I was like, but like, you know what I mean? I'm saying, I'm like, wow, what were the thoughts if we can go back to when it initially happened? And I want to push you back there. I know that today's a big day, and I'm like, this is a lot. So we don't have to go back there. But if it's too much, just like say so. If it's not, we can fill out the model or you can do it by yourself.
yeah. I'm trying to think. I what I did, and it wasn't even, it's funny, it wasn't even so much that I had planned to do that. The only what I had planned is I just set myself a goal of I'm just gonna get over my fear of posting and just post every day. And it morphed into like this healing process. It just kind of like organically turned into that. So now I know how to do that. Like that feels really easy for me to pop on and just share something. So I think I'd have to come up with a different thought, because back then it was just like um I was the goal was I'm just going to do what I said I was going to do.
I was
Which
like,
is-
yeah, just create a
Yeah.
different goal for me. I was like, what if instead of the goal previously was what got you through. The goal to get over the fear of posting, that worked. So if we can take that same notion that if I have a goal with this, then I can overcome this. I think that this is going to be a really opportune moment for you. So if you're thinking like, what could be a goal? What's something that you want to create from this month of October?
I'll have to think about it, I think.
Yeah, ponder it.
Yeah.
But what was your thought when you were posting daily? There was some sort of thought that was like, I'm gonna figure this out. I want to figure this out.
Oh, mainly the main thing that sticks out that I learned from that whole experience is like, if this is just going to help one person, even if it's just me. Like that made it so easy. So I always had something useful to say. It helped me. Awesome if it helps somebody else. So that was
I
really
love that. That's a great way to think of it. Like, I don't always value myself as the one that's being benefited. So, applause to you for that little phrase there. I like that.
like this you must use now. I was like, and even if the way that it's helping one person is not working, that's okay too, right? But I want you to think about like, how does it feel when you're like thinking this is gonna help one person, even if it's just me?
well, right now it makes me want to cry, but but I know that like not in a bad way.
Yeah.
So I don't know really how to name the feeling,
Yeah.
because right now I just feel sad. But I think if I weren't in this headspace, it would just it's very it feels so grounding.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And we don't have to get into all of the A-line that you did back then. I want you to like just like take a moment and like allow, if there's like all these feelings, like just let it come out. Like this is a safe place. We are all friends. We all care about each other. We're all trying to grow together. This is a lot that you're going through. Just to like validate, like, damn, I am going through it. And I still decided to show up on this call today. Like, wow.
I am. I'm so proud of myself for the way that I've shown up through all of it. But there is a little voice like, oh, you're behind. You didn't do what you said you were going to do last week. You're not caught up with the videos and getting everything in the Google Drive. And, so there is some of that happening.
Yeah. Well, this is not, first off, you just got all the videos. So you got it all. And we made the template. So you're not behind in the group. And I also want to offer to you that like being behind isn't a circumstance. It's just a thought. So it's
Yeah.
like, it's like life is happening. It's like who, and our brains always want to determine, it's like, am I ahead? Am I behind? Am I ahead? Am I behind? That determination of where we are creates a lot of safety for us, but we can choose to create that safety for us and be like, I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. This is on October 10th, 2023. There was never another place I was going to be. I am exactly where I'm supposed to be. My 10-year from now self is thanking me for being right here, right now. And even if we are not working, that's exactly what I need to do right now to take care of myself, to heal, to get healed through the heartbreak and every other thing, all the other feels. And then you're going to be able to help. How does that land?
All true. I know all of that. Yeah.
Pretty good results come from that too, even if it is like taking time to process.
Yeah.
That is a great thing to do at this time also. I love you. Sarah. I love all of you guys, but like this is it. This is a lot. And do you have like I also like I hired my therapist back. I hired all these people when I was going through all this stuff. So you've got a support system for your life stuff. Great. Okay. So yeah, because we want to like make sure that like even though this group is for like we are going to talk about a lot of life, I want to make sure you have additional support for the life stuff too. So I'm glad to hear that. Are you open to any feedback from anybody else, or do you want to just take a minute? You totally can, and I want to hear everybody wants to add, but I just want to make sure you are feeling in a good place to receive.
Absolutely. Yes. And I don't have anything else to say.
Amazing. Morgan.
Having too much fun with the raise hand button. But kind of going off of Sarah's topic is my question maybe to the group is how do you take a little 5-10 minute reset to kind of, I mean, I know we have the thought work exercise, but sometimes I need like a physical reset to get back into the work mindset. And I was wondering if anyone had any suggestions on something quick, something easy, something that will kind of like shock the system into, you know, let's get going. Because sometimes I one of the things I struggle with is I'll say, okay, I'll have 15 minutes to check social media. And then I'll miss that time. And then I'll say, okay, it'll be 30 minutes. And I end up procrastinating and not just resetting like I wanted to and then starting something else. So I'm curious if maybe Megan has some ideas or the rest of the group.
Yes. So this phone is so distracting for me. It is like one of the hardest things, especially like I don't know if y'all need to share if you struggle with ADHD, but for me, what I found is when we have jobs that are linked to social media, it can be very difficult to sometimes, again, you don't have to have social media, but like within that being a part of like the marketing piece of your job, what I like to do is set really strict time periods around it. So when I'm doing work, like when I was like making the modules, when I was going through and making PowerPoints or things like that, I put on music and I set a timer. This is a method called the Pomodoro method. And so the method, the idea behind it is you take 25 minutes on and then you do 5 minutes off. But I've tried to do the 5 minutes off on social and it is a dopamine hit after a distraction hit. I totally get it. So I do something like laundry and I'll be like, all right, it's like, we're going to do some work and then we're going to do some laundry. And this is actually how I content batch as well. I'll do like, okay, I'm going to make these videos until the timer goes off and then I'll go and fold some laundry. Work, laundry. And then it's just kind of like that makes it easier. But I would say like, no screen is preferred. Like, it's like, I forget your cat's name. It's not Mocha. I was like, that's another client.
There's 2 cats, so apologies. They keep
Oh,
saying hello.
Too. It's very fun. I was like, but with it, like, does that or doing like I'll take out Jack's, or I'll go grab more water, or like go to the bathroom. Like, it's like some way to like break it up just like without screens if I can. And then I'm really specific about like the screen time I spend, especially when I was posting. Like now I have somebody doing it for me, but oh my God, it was the hardest thing ever. I know that sounds crazy, but it was like, that was a really difficult thing for me.
You, during the 25 minutes on, do
Mhm.
you like put your phone in a separate room so that way you don't even like begin to think about it?
Literally, I throw it on the couch, or I was
Okay.
even putting it in my room, which is, this is the office, like it's a separate area, or putting it in the kitchen. Like,
Okay.
literally, like I just know myself, and I just get so tempted. And y'all have no idea how many videos I sent to Rob. It's like there's so many cat videos he receives, and like I just think it's so funny, and I'm like, this is great, so much dopamine. But I usually, and then I also schedule time for that too. So like at night after I'm done working, usually around like 8-ish, it's like after, no, so Rob and I usually eat from 7 to 8, and so like 7 I'm done with work, and then from 8 to whenever I want to go to bed is my free time, when I'm like, and I know that there's like life happening for many of y'all that don't allow that, but I'm like, I will scroll as much as I want, I will watch what I want, I will do whatever I want until I go to bed. And it feels a lot more freeing. So I'm like in CEO mode right now, and then I'll be able to be in just Megan mode. Does anyone else have,
Great suggestions too in
Yeah.
the chat. Thank you guys.
does anybody else have any like productivity peoples? I was like, does anybody else have anything that like helps you take a break and come back?
I love to like literally put my phone in a drawer. I figured out that like my phone, like what I like to think of, right, if there's one thing you can do, like the one thing that causes me the most problems as it relates to trying to build my business and do all the things, is my phone. And I know it sounds so obvious and simple, but I've started just putting it in a drawer in another room. And it's amazing how much more work I get done, because it's just a habit. You just every time you feel a bit uncomfortable, you just pick it up and scroll, and then you get sucked in for like 25 minutes and your day is gone. So yeah, that's just what I do. Or I try to do as much as I can.
I'm so with you. Like I tried. It's just like, no, just need to know. I get it, like it was so crazy. So like I had to redo a post, and it's like the first time I've had access, like it's like for this whole month, which is like such a gift. Again, like it was the first thing I outsourced, and I literally went on my phone to like take down the picture, and it's the same old protocol that I did for 3 years. I'm like, I know this protocol, and the second I got on, it took me like 2 hours to just like take down and put up a post on Friday. And I was like, what is happening? And it was because I got so excited for the lights and like I got it down to like literally it was like 30 minutes. I didn't let myself up any more than that. I scheduled it, and then it needed to be redone. I was like, I needed to, so just know if you even get out of like a phase of posting and you get back into it, that can be tricky too. And that's okay. Great input. Awesome closing to this. Also, I forgot to start with wins. Like, so Morgan, do you have like a win beforehand? Sarah, we don't need to come back to you. I know you're feeling all the things. And I know you have wins because I see them in your wins, but what is a win for you for this week?
So one of the wins is that I am going to try and increase my network by helping out with my sorority alumni network.
Oh, fun. Okay.
And volunteer with that. I figured that might be a way to get new clients and, you know, put myself out there in a community that I'm kind of familiar with at the same time. So I have a call at 1 p.m. for that.
This is huge. Okay. For everybody, we're going to be learning about how to manage leads. And that is going to be week 5. And that is literally like one of the biggest things. Like I've been talking, it's interesting because I'm actually watching my business coach, Stacey Bayman, has been talking a ton about this week. And she's at like 10 million. And she's like now going back in, she's messaging people on Instagram. She's doing like a whole like webinar this week. Like she's like come back to this like networking thing. It's huge. So I think that's like awesome. And we're going to talk about how to build it like in a really strategic way on week 5. But keep doing it and like write down people who might be wanting some property management as well. All right. Great stuff. Who else wants some coaching? It can be about anything. It doesn't have to be about your offer. It can be like, oh my gosh, yes, Harmony. Give us a win.
It is a win. I did a lot of little things. Like I had started my own Google Classroom, even though it's just like a mess. And like I've structured my coaching calls, and I've started using it. And so now I'm taking notes. I've done it for the first time instead of writing down and then making the recap.
Save you so much time.
Yeah, I'm trying to do a few things here and there, structuring it.
Huge.
I don't even remember what I put in my wins already in the form. This is what I was talking about. I don't keep track of my wins. This is my goal for next time.
Great. Because I have a positivity spreadsheet. Or it's like it's just a document where I put things that like if someone says something that was kind, I'm like, oh, I'll remember that later when I'm feeling sad. So it's like,
Oh yeah, you told me about that, yeah.
yeah. Okay, so tell me coaching.
Well, something I think I put it in this form. I was like, I realized that, and it's leading to building the business. Like I'm so scared of how can I put that? It's very simple, but like but concretely when my spouse support is going to end up in less than a year now, which I've been seeing as soon as I moved out. Like I knew it would be 2 years, and I knew it wouldn't be able for me to maintain the lifestyle that I have now. So what am I going to do to like be able to do that? And then life coaching came in, and now it's getting closer. And even though I've created a few clients and I'm doing it, I'm still so scared of not achieving it. And I can see how it is. I'm not procrastinating. I mean, I could be doing more, but it's really always in my head every day now. It's like when I hit the 1 year mark, because it was 2 years, another 1 year, and it's like really more present, and it's really preventing me from, I don't know if it's preventing me, but it seems like, yeah, I mean, it can only be preventing me from showing up the way I would like to, and like be bigger and do better. And so there are days when I'm like, okay, it's fine, just like surrender to that. It's okay. Like, how does it feel to be scared? But yeah, it keeps on coming back.
Yeah. Well, and like I'm glad that you're normalizing it with it. Like we don't want to reject any emotions. We want to be like, all right, because if whatever we resist will persist. So allowing that like fear to come in and being like, okay, fear, there's a lesson here. There is something that you're here to teach me. If you could ask like that fear that's coming up, it's like, what is it? What is your like nervous system, subconscious? What is it scared of right now? And you said something like maintaining life. It's like,
well, it's like, if not, it means like moving out, which is going to cost me a lot of money, which at the end is ridiculous to do. And it's maybe asking for my ex-husband for some support.
okay. So
it is not. this is linked to the fact that like the life I had until I was divorced, I also was responsible for it. I created it, even though he was the one making the most money. Then I was a reliable parent, but still working. But in the back of my mind, I was always like, but I have that lifestyle because of him, thanks to him. And I was not really like owning that. And so now if I don't make it, it's like, see, you are not. This is like, you were right. Like he was not yours. You at that time, and it's not yours now because you're not able to make it on your own. But it's all like, I'm just projecting. I don't know if I'm not going to be able to make it on my own. So
like, I totally, but we really want to hear this whole thing out. No one is like at all, but we want to like listen to this like side of you. So it's like, you were right. It wasn't yours then, and it's not yours now. And you said you are not like in the lifestyle. It's like, there's a lifestyle that's like,
it's like I had a lifestyle before I met, super uncomfortable, super independent, super comfortable, not uncomfortable, super independent. And then I meet him and he turns out he lives downtown Manhattan. He's like, he has a lot of money and great. Then he works even better. And then suddenly he wants to divorce me. We have 2 kids and I work for a nonprofit.
Okay. So you're saying that if I were to just like be me and build this business, it's not going to supplement the income that I need. Like, that's the fear with the business.
Without the business, without the life coaching business, it wouldn't allow me.
Yeah, which of course
even though I fought hard and apparently I got a really good deal, it's still, I know how much it is to live downtown Manhattan. I'm not crazy. I don't even add any designer bags or whatever. Like, I like to go on vacation for sure. But, and then my current boyfriend, his ex-wife, she's exactly there. She probably has some mental health issues. She stopped wanting to be a mom, but she has no more money left. She's not taking care of the kids, so she doesn't have custody anymore. So she's exactly, and I told him I feel for her because at the same time, I know she didn't do anything to not be there. But this is exactly what I'm so scared of. And so it's just like,
what are you so scared?
She's just no money. She cannot take care of the kids. She renounced her rights to custody. She doesn't want to work either. Like, it's very different for me, but like, I'm so scared to be there. And then to have this so close, my boyfriend's ex-wife, I'm just like, wow, just bringing it back to me. Even though I know I've been working hard, I have a job right now, I have the life coaching business. I'm like, this is so possible for me.
I know, but like, we have to let this out, because what happens is, if this is a subconscious fear, you guys are hearing it. Like, there's like almost like 2 harmonies. It's like, we've got like, it's like, so if that scared harmony isn't heard and like, well, like not calmed, but like consoled and been like, hey, totally get it. Like, I hear where you're coming from. What happens is that's 80% of the time your brain functions subconsciously. So it's like, we need to like hear her out and be like, hey, I get why you're scared right now. Okay. And just so everybody knows, this is going to happen at so many points in your business. You're going to hear somebody, or you're going to experience something else, and our brains generalize, delete, and distort information. It, like, always. It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, what's coming up is just shame, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. What are you? It's okay. Let's just breathe.
That I put myself in that situation by trusting someone 100%.
Oh, girl. 100%. Many of us have been here. As you're gonna learn, I share a lot about my personal life, and I was like, literally same as I was like moving back with my parents. I was like, wow, this is not what I thought was gonna be happening right now. So I put myself in a bad situation. I want you to know that there was a different word it wasn't bad.
I put myself in that situation. I don't remember when I say that. Well, no. Yeah, I talked about trust because I trusted someone. Like I was just so relaxed on working. I was like, it's fine. My career is not like I want to be a reliable parent. This is most important for me, thinking that this will never be an issue.
Hmm. And like that version of you with the trust fear, it's like I trusted him. I trusted that was going to be fine. I was a reliable partner. I never thought this was going to be an issue. That version of you is really trying to protect you right now. Like she's the one feeling shame and fear, I think, right now. It's like the one that is like kind of just like right after it happened, that's like, whoa. What does that sound accurate to you?
Oh yeah. And for the first year, it was quieter. And now that I'm getting closer, it's just really invasive.
And it's like thinking this year, like this is like there's a lot of
like it's been a month and a half, like maybe 2 months. Yeah,
like
almost 2 months now.
yeah, so you're really like where it's oh my gosh, it's been a month and a half. We got 11 months, 4 days to go. It's like, oh my
Sure.
God. I feel that. I feel that pressure that you're putting on yourself, right? And that is so, of course, your brain is scared right now. Like, of course, anybody who has this like other situation, like for me, a friend of mine, her partner, turns out he was like addicted to gambling. And like literally it was just like one of those things that I was like, can you ever really know? And I freaked out for a week and I was like, maybe Rob is also addicted to gambling. And I was like, even though he's never gambled before, I was like, so it's like, it's very reasonable for your brain to be here. Nothing has gone wrong. Your brain is functioning perfectly. Your brain is braining right now. And that's good. But what are you not thinking about when you are thinking like, I put myself in a bad situation and you're feeling shame?
I'm not thinking about how amazing I did and showed up. Like everybody says, and I agree, like I divorced with a lot of beauty. Like people were like, you in the middle of divorce. I mean, it doesn't mean that it was not hard. It wasn't hard and I had very low days, but like how I really made the divorce is a real gigantic opportunity for growth. Like I have the personal growth I've experienced through the divorce is like 10 times what I've experienced through 7 years of marriage.
Yeah.
Like I know myself more. I know how to regulate my emotions. Everything fits into the model. Like everything makes sense. It's still hard half of the time, but it's just a totally different look on life. And in a year, I've divorced, moved out, become a life coach, studying all the things, my website, the clients I got. I became a coach for my nonprofit also. I mean, it's huge.
It's amazing.
And I found my incredible man with my dating with intention plan, thanks to life coaching. So it is huge, and I'm still not using all of that to produce on social media, like use it as a force, not as much as I would like to.
And now, but I mean, like, just think about how you are such a force. You have done all these things. That part of you hasn't gone through that journey just yet. She's about to. She's right on the verge of it, but she's still like, oh man, like the like something has gone terribly wrong. And she's like, the thing that I want you to hear is that like there was the trust in him, the reliability. And I think your brain is trying to be like, okay, if I trust my business and I think my business is going to be fine, it's like, will the same shit.
Mm.
You think that could potentially be related? Because you keep, I don't know if that could be. It might be a bit of a stretch.
Yeah, because I keep, yeah. No, it's absolutely, because I know I'm hyper vigilant. Like, I'm like, where is the danger? Like, all the time. So when is it going to fall into my face again? When I'm like, last time I was coached that when I'm going to fall down. So yes, I know it's there.
I think that might be.
So yeah, it's also like when my business going to prove to me that all of that was delusional and I shouldn't have trusted it.
Yeah, this is what I was afraid of. I was like, because even with the life stuff, that does link to business stuff. Like, this is what happens. It's like if your brain had something that was reliable, fine, good, trustworthy, and you have another thing that you feel like is good, reliable, trustworthy, your brain can do a thought swap really easily and be like, when's the other shoe gonna drop? That's my thought. That was like literally like, and I just want to normalize all of it, because it's like my brain is like, I know it was a good launch, but you know what? Gotta be back at home with mom and dad ASAP. I was like, it's interesting, so that it happens when things are like, even when good things happen, it's like, totally get it. But what happens is, if I'm so glad you brought this for coaching, because I know that this is gonna happen for everybody. It's like the comparison of the business to like other things going on in your and to business. And what is your words? You said, when is it gonna come crashing in my face?
But for what? Crushing? Yeah. Well, I'm ESL, so I'm just using the words that I know how to use. Falling down, like when it's gonna, crushing my face. I don't know what I said.
Yeah. I was like, I love you. And it's like when that part of your brain is functioning, you're undermining your ability to see that you can control and put yourself in a good situation. And you did.
Yeah, it's like I'm undermining my own trust.
Of course you are, because that version of you trying to protect you. It's like so counterintuitive. It's like your brain is like, I can't trust anybody or anything, especially this business. And your brain's like, but I totally can. So it's like you are holding a lot of cognitive dissonance. And that's what's going on. So for you now that you see that,
I'm sorry, it cut. I didn't hear anything.
so what
For you now? Like the intentional model.
Yeah, so we want to go and like just like comfort and console that version of you and be like, hey, you're safe, former self, like it's okay.
Yeah.
And we want to move forward. So how can we help her to feel safe and grounded within these next 11 months? I know that it might have to be like a daily thing, like I'm safe, it's okay.
Yeah, well, I think it's about like, it's actually just seeing that I always find very creative and amazing solution to everything. Like I know, and this is from my experience, like how I can see my story, even to move out. I was like, you really want me to move out? This is what it's going to cost to move out. This is an apartment cost, so you're going to have to pay because I don't have the money. And you really wanted to move out. And so, and I did that before the mediation. So the mediation had to make sure that it was enough for the lease that we had just signed together, even though we were divorced. Like, I'm like, I know.
Yeah.
And this is just like an example, but so many examples in my life, like I always find my way.
I love that thought.
This is the only thing but it's only tapping about what I've done. It's not about, it's just like, think about all those times you were very scared and feeling very unsafe, and you made it through because I managed to tap into myself and like trust myself even a little bit. It was just a little bit like, there must be something else. There is something that can be done. Yeah.
Something that can be done. And sometimes like if you need to go, like my brain, I'm like, okay, what is like your worst fear? I'm like, what are you afraid of? And I'm like, I'm afraid that I'm going to make somebody, like, for me, it's like one of my thoughts, like, I never want to make anyone sad or feel hurt ever. It's like, I always want to make sure that everyone feels good around me, which is very hard because, we can't control other people's emotions, So it's like, it's been a very interesting uphill battle. So within you, it's like, always, like, anytime that your brain being like, I'm unsafe, and being like, it's okay. And we're going to be able to fix it. It's like, there's always something to be done. I've always found a way. And I find creative and amazing solutions to everything. I love that. It's like, I'm the author of my story, because your brain is thinking about things that are outside of your control and it's trying to find certainty in that versus finding control and certainty within yourself. So if you think the thought, I always find my way, how does that feel?
Confident.
And I want that
Calm, confident. I like to use this. Calm, confident.
calm, confident. It's a great combo. It's like, so I want that calm, confident version of you to go to you when you first experience it. And you doesn't have to be on this call, but like at some point, just being like, hey, you're safe. I've got you. I will always have you. Your future self, everybody, you can go inside and just like be like, hey, we are going to figure this shit out. Like, no matter what. And like, even if you need to go like the worst case scenario, it's like, worst case scenario, I will find you will definitely there. It's like, even though it wouldn't be great, even if like something happened and you were like, well, I have to ask my husband for life support or for support. I don't know.
Spouse. Yeah. It's called spouse support.
Spousal support. It's like, and it's like, okay, yeah, that would be really shitty. And there is no way. I know you, Harmony. I was like, you are gonna go and fucking get it. It's like, no way. It would be temporary, it'd be shitty, and you would get right back on that horse.
There's no other way. This is the way.
This is the
For
way.
people who this is the Mandalorian.
Yes, the Mandalorian, the way. It's like, Star Wars people, I hear you. Feel it. So yes, it's like, is the way. And it's a messy way, and it's not ever what we think it's gonna be. But I mean, how boring would life be if life was always planned? That's why we're here. Mix it up a little, learn something, help some people, make a difference.
Yeah.
Is there anything else?
Oh, thank you.
I love you. And look, your result is finding your way.
Yeah.
Beautiful. I love you.
And every time I'm thinking more like this, I even like appreciate my ex-husband for letting me go, because this was the only way for me to do it. Otherwise, I would have been like, no, reliable parent. No, you can't do that. This is for other people. This is not for you.
People. Oh,
It's exactly what is supposed to happen.
freaking love you. Awesome. So good. Are you feeling complete?
Yeah.
Amazing.
I'm glad I let it out
I am
here
too.
with all of you as witnesses.
Yes. Processing emotion, y'all. Huge part about building a business. Does anyone else might think want to ask, or are we feeling anyone who wants some quick coaching? I can stay on a little longer. If anybody has something that is on their mind that we just want to like clear up before you go and kill it next week.
Hey, Megan, can I go?
Yes, of course.
My baby just went down, so I can talk.
Oh.
Okay, sorry. Hi.
Wait. What's a quick win past week? And then let's
My nanny rescheduled on me again. I've had having a lot of scheduling issues, which adds stress to my calendar. And I didn't have a total meltdown with that. I was just like, okay. And I'm like processing and figure out what to do next. No, but normally I like spend a lot with my time. But that actually connects to my thing that I want to get coached on. but I guess before I do that, the celebration is that I stayed neutral about it and like was just kind of like, hey, what do we do now? So
Amazing. This is awesome. Celebrating you. And also, if anybody needs to go, I love you so much. Have an awesome week. But what do you want some coaching on? I got you.
my thought is I don't know what to do. And it's not specific on the nanny, it's like everything. Because I've been kind of I've been playing with the idea of like, okay, how do I work my schedule where like here's when my husband's home, here's when she naps, and so when my husband's home, here's where clients are. So trying to create like kind of a nanny proof schedule. So like if I don't have childcare, I can still show up consistently and I'm not changing things all the time for people because I've gone through like 7 nannies so far. I swear I'm not a horrible boss. I just hire college girls. They're really flaky apparently. And that's my thought about that. But anyway, so I basically like because I'm trying to work with less hours and be really efficient during those hours, I'm finding a lot of pressure during those hours. And I'm like, so like right now my baby's napping and I have 3 hours that I could work on content. I could clean the house. There's so many things that I feel like I need to do. And then I just like spin an overwhelm or like kind of jump around from thing to thing to thing. And anyway, so that's like, it's a very big, it's not like super like specific thing, but that's kind of my problem because it's vague. And then I feel overwhelmed.
And then there's the overwhelm. Okay. So it's like,
or confusion. Actually, I'd say confusion.
okay. So it's like this thought, it's like, I don't know what to do. So it's like things are happening and it's like, I don't know what to do. And you feel confused.
Yes.
What happens is you're doing all this stuff. You're trying to create an improved schedule, working less hours, putting a lot of pressure on it. And I think that and so tell me what you're not doing real quick.
Probably getting stuff done. I mean, like I am, but like, well, okay, here's what I know I'm definitely not doing. Like, because I keep thinking, I'm like, I should make a plan and I should schedule out my time. But then like, I feel like I don't have time for that. And so I don't do it.
Yeah.
But then also sometimes I do try to do that and then I get frustrated, like, of like, oh, I thought I was gonna have a 3-hour nap and I got an hour and a half nap. And so I get mad. I didn't get as much done as I thought I would. So then I'm kind of like, well, screw that. Planning doesn't work. But obviously what I'm doing right now doesn't work either. So
what I want to do for you is a little different. So if anyone knows the Monday Hour Done or Monday Hour One model, we're gonna do something a little different for you. So this is what I did when I was teaching and I was coaching and I was like trying to figure out all of the other pieces of my life. And what I had to do at that point is I had to think about like, okay, so as the CEO of my business, there are things that move the dial forward. And I'm just gonna like move the dial, move the needle forward. Same difference. But all we want to do is move this forward, move your business forward in whatever hours you have. You also have a thought that like, I need to make sure that like, within the time, there was just something I like snuck out there that like your clients aren't able to move around their coaching calls, that they're not flexible. Like it's bad.
yeah.
There's a thought there. Brig, who's another coach that you might know of, when she first started coaching, she was an anesthesiologist and had to go on call every night and also had kids. And so each week, what would happen is she would tell her clients, it's like, okay, here are my times for next week. Which times work for you this week? And it was a week to week thing. No one ever thought that she was unprofessional. She didn't think that she could charge different. If she had to change it, she just explained it. And she's like, this is what's going on. This is what setting expectations when people start working with you. So that first off, how does that feel to be like, it's professional to do things every week, to schedule a different time every week. And I'm still going to like help these people. How does that feel?
Yeah. I think there's so I'm like, okay, maybe it could be professional to do like every week, but like I'm like, I literally like have like virtual issues with getting canceled on the day before even. So I feel like the day before is not professional.
So just setting that expectation. I think if I were working with a coach that's as amazing as you, which is maybe not your thoughts about yourself, but if I was like, I have relationship anxiety and I need some help for sure, and you are the best person to do this. I've listened to your podcast. I think you're amazing. It's like, I would absolutely move it day of. I've worked with a coach for this past year where she has been going through a lot, and she's had to change it day of, like an hour of, 5 minutes into the call even. And I'm still paying her a lot of money because I know when I work with her, I get results. So your clients are going to be resourceful. They're going to figure it out. It's like, they're probably pretty cool people if they want to work with
Yeah.
you.
And they honestly, like, my clients really have been great. Like, they have been, it's just, yeah, that's been my thought about it. So that actually is like really, that I like that perspective.
Yeah.
And then, and I guess I could still, like, my ideal might be like, I have a consistent weekly schedule, but at least like in the weeks where that's not what's happening, to like give myself that like grace instead of telling myself I'm not being professional, of like, but just what you were saying, like my clients want to work with me and they're flexible.
Absolutely. And it's funny because it's like it's already like in your brain, it's like a maybe not super ideal situation. And so it's like your brain is like, not only is this happening, but then we're going to make it an even bigger problem that's happening. So it's like, it's not a problem at all. Your clients are totally fine. They're doing awesome. And
Yeah.
it's gonna probably work itself out. Like, as it will work itself out. Like, do you foresee, like, probably, so I think that what's been happening is with the college girls.
So-
Go ahead.
Actually, I do want to hear this thought. Sorry, I was just going to interject. The other half that my brain's making it a problem with is just because of the load on my brain of like, okay, shoot, now I need to figure out. It's like I had my whole puzzle laid out and now I need to rearrange the puzzle, and that, like, again, then adds to the overwhelm kind of.
Yep. And so what we want to do is we want to think about, that's where this is. So it's like the puzzle was laid out, I had a plan, and the plan was changed. So we're going to create for you a move the dial forward list. And I think that like that changing and the different expectations of time, I think that might be what is happening for you, is like, I have this expectation, I've got this, and my plan for the time to do this changed, versus being like, I'm going to become the kind of CEO that, like, even if I don't have any time during the day, it's like, even if I have like an hour, I've got this list, I'm going to pull from this list, and then this is going to be a check off. And it's a little bit more of the to-do list schedule, but we want to, like, if your brain is adding extra like emotional drama to the puzzle being laid out, let's throw out the puzzle. Like, not making a puzzle. These are all the pieces of the puzzle. I will pick and choose, and I'm going to be the CEO that gets it all done. So if you were to think about the things that you have to do every week, there's probably a list. What are the things that move the dial forward every week?
With my business. Okay. I like the idea. Sorry, this isn't answering the question. I like the idea of throwing out the puzzle. And then my brain's like, but you have clients, so you can't throw out the puzzle because clients are the puzzle fitting them in.
Those are gonna be just rearranged whenever it works for you.
Okay. Client calls, which I actually kind of have dialed back on that, and I'm trying to shift more to the group to give even more flexibility there. But so client calls, consult calls, right? That's kind of all the same bucket, I guess. I do a podcast once a week, but I've been trying to batch the podcast instead of once a week, and that actually works really good for me. But I have to be on top of, like, I didn't get it done last week, and so now I'm kind of on the week to week. But so I guess there's content creation, and ideally I would like to batch, like, maybe this is podcast week and I batch podcasts, and the next week's social media week and I batch that. So, but like, posting on social media, ideally, I really kind of throw that one out the window though when I get stressed. The podcast is the one thing I'm like really consistent about doing, and then responding to like DMs and emails. That's kind of like my bare business minimum.
Yes. And we need to be like, we're going to figure out how to make this happen. If you were to say like, okay, typically we're batching social and podcasts, but how long does the podcast take?
It depends on how inspired I feel.
Okay.
So, like I would say it probably could take like an hour. But when I batch, I can get like 4 done in about like 2.5 hours. So just like when I'm in that mode, it becomes way more efficient versus like when I'm starting for some reason.
Okay, that's good to know. That's a great thing to know. So it's like, okay, when I batch the podcast, it's like either 2.5 or 1 hour. That's typically what it takes. What about for a social post? Or how many posts do you like to do a week?
3.
Okay, perfect. That's literally what you're going to learn next week, which is great. So within those 3 posts, how long does it take per post, or do you batch all 3?
Well, actually, I like what I've tried before is trying to batch the whole month.
Uh-huh.
It's like that. So basically 4 podcasts a month, 12 social posts a month, and then try to batch the 4 podcasts 1 week.
Huh.
This isn't my ideal. I have not really like totally followed through on this.
Okay.
But yeah, so to create 3 social posts, again, it's kind of the same thing where I could literally spend like a long time. Like I probably could create something really, really quick in like 30 minutes. I feel like I could create 3 posts in 30 minutes, but I could also easily spend like 2 hours thinking and thinking about those 3 posts.
Yep.
So again,
Totally.
depending on how inspired and directed I feel.
Yes. What about like for the month? Would it take like, if it took 30 minutes to do a week, like maybe like 3 hours for the month?
Yeah.
Let's just like throw that in there. And then what about daily? Like if you just had to like write a post.
Again, this is so interesting. It's like my brain's, it's like depending on how quality it's going to be. Like if I'm gonna get a crappy post, I could do it in 5 minutes. If I'm gonna make you a really good post, it's gonna take longer. So that's
Okay.
kind of interesting to notice.
Maybe like 20 minutes. So really,
Yeah, let's say 20.
okay. Notice the thoughts. I was like, I'm just gonna say really good. It's like even something that takes 5 minutes. I'm the kind of CEO that anything I bring out, even if it's 5 minutes, everything is really good. It's like
Oh, I like that.
self-concept shifting all over the place. Okay. Now within this last one, responding to emails and DMs. That could take forever. How long do you need to do that? Is it a daily?
Yeah. Unless I'm really overwhelmed with my inbox, and then that doesn't happen because I'll just avoid it. But I would say, I mean, honestly, it probably doesn't take super long. Actually, and I would probably throw in like, yeah, client messaging in this realm as well. So yeah, maybe like 30 minutes. But
Like,
yeah, I think also this one becomes a problem because I'm not doing it like consistently. Like, here's the time that I do it. It's kind of like popping in and oh, there's this and oh, there's that. And then sporadically like remembering to respond to and manage all the communication kind of thing.
uh-huh. And respond. Okay. So notice that your brain is like, this is a problem. The consistency is a problem. You said,
Yeah.
What if, as the CEO of your business, this is not a problem at all? It's like the consistency might not be weekly, might not be this, but that's just what I do as this mama CEO of my business. Like everything that I do, I even if it's not, and the reason why I said this, the reason why I got all these like times is I was like, okay, the move to the dial forward list. There are times in my business that as a responsible CEO, I have to be really freaking flexible. And I have to be
Yeah.
like, and I have to be flexible and compassionate because it's like there's sometimes the life is the problem, sometimes I'm the problem. It's like, so it's like, you know what I'm saying? It's like we have to be flexible and compassionate and know that like that's how I want to show up as a CEO. When I wrote down those beliefs, it's like those are definitely 2 of my core beliefs and character traits I always want to be. And so I'm like, all right. So if I have to write my post day to day, I can do that in 20 minutes. If I have to write my posts with my podcast, if I have to do this in an hour, I can make it and I can get it done. It would not be great. It's not ideal.
Yeah.
Not what I would love, but I'm running this business and I'm going to scale this business And it's not going to look perfect along the way. There's no puzzle. I'm choosing to make whatever I do really freaking good. How does that land?
I like that because then I think it could give me flexibility to do stuff in less time.
Yes. And then it's like, okay, it's like, all right, CEO Megs, we have a challenge. You did not write any posts for today, and you have a social media manager now that you have to send a post to. So we're going to write in 30 minutes. I'm like, all right, challenge accepted. Let's go. You see that versus being like, oh my God, it's like, I can't do, it's like, I totally get to go there. And I'm just like, not going to let it. I'm a CEO. I can't do that. It's like I can't. And like within like the house, you were like, I could do housework or I could do this. What I have been doing like recently is like, these are my CEO hours. I'm going to work in these hours, and then I'm going to have my like house hours. And I'm like, within these hours, I am a CEO. I'm doing it, and on can be like what we talked about with Sarah. It's like, it can be, I am a 1 and I am choosing to process emotions right now. And that is still my CEO time. But I try and like, I'm like, if it's during the day, whenever I can be the most effective, I try really hard not to let the housework and stuff in, unless it's like the Pomodoro method, like I mentioned. But it's like, you know what I mean? It's like, I try and be like, this is my work hours. This is my work time. I'm going to get it done. How does that feel to you?
And I guess then my brain gets kind of confused about like, I think maybe I get all or nothing with it again, but like, okay, well, what are the work hours going to be? And what are the house hours going to be? And like that decision. And like, one idea I did have the other day is if I were to like do days, like kind of like as zones, sort of like, because I was thinking of kind of with my husband's schedule, Monday and Wednesday would kind of be the days I'd have the most flexibility to do clients. If I'm just kind of more relying on him. And so I had the thought of like, what if Monday and Wednesday are kind of like my work zone days? And then like if like Tuesday was like my Tuesday and Thursday were house zone days or something. I don't know. Cause I feel like even trying to put a like border around like this time to this time is this and this time to this time is that. Cause then like my baby might not, like I don't know what she's gonna do. And so
then this is where it's like, this is, as the CEO of my business, knowing everything that I do right now, this is my best guess. My best guess is that for this week, I'm going to try Mondays and Wednesdays being my zones. I'm going to try it for a week, and then I'm going to evaluate it. What's working? Just like the same questions that I have here for you guys. It's like, okay, what's working? What could be improved? And what do I want to do differently? It takes like literally like 5 seconds. You can even do it in your mind and just be like, all right, every single week, what's working, what could be improved, what can I do differently? Every week there's going to be stuff that works, that doesn't work, and stuff that we need to do differently, and be like, oh, mental note, next week my work zone day is probably going to be Thursday. My work zone day might have to be a little bit on Friday, and I'm okay with that too. And it's like, but just being okay with the flexibility, I think, was the thought shift I want you to have. Is I want you to be like, CEOs are flexible and compassionate. And like, that's what we are. It's like, we are running these businesses, and it's like, yeah, this is our best guess. It is my responsible best guess for what I think could work for me. And then we're going to check in next week. And we'll be like, okay, that didn't work at all. That happens.
yeah.
I still got these things done, but it did not feel as clean as I liked. Did not feel as clean. What could I do to make it cleaner next week? Versus being like, it wasn't, what were your words? It's like, it wasn't consistent. It wasn't managed. It's like, okay, what would consistency look like? What would I want this to look like? How could I create this? Because right now your brain is having the impossible goal of like, I want to be consistent. And it's like, you're trying to create consistency in an inconsistent situation. It's like, okay, it's like, what would make you feel like, it's like, this is pretty consistent. I get my podcast done every single week. I get my social media posts done every single week. Make sure I get my client consult calls done every single week. I make sure that I respond to those DMs. Does it look super nice right now? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe to some person, they're going to look at your days and be like, she is killing it. Look at this lady. She's doing awesome. You know what I mean? So it's that like level of perspective where you can be like, all right, It's like everything I do is really good and it's just going to keep getting better.
Yeah, I like that. The other thing that came up for me is I was like, okay, I could get the bare minimum and try to figure that out. But then I'm like, but what about like growing and the goals? And like, cause then I have all these other like goals and things that I want to work on. And so then it's like, how do I make sure like, cause like that list, I feel like that list is a good, like, okay, I'm functioning at a 1 to 3 level. Here's what needs to get done. But like, if I'm wanting to grow it more, then I'm like, shouldn't I be doing more? And slash also there are things that I do want to do, but then I have lots of things I want to do. And then I get confused about, I have this idea for this project and that project, and then I don't know, like, and then again, the confusion, right?
Yeah. Well, and it's funny because your brain is like, I feel like I've got a lot going on right now, and let's add more to that list. Like, of course, it's like
Yeah.
it's like, I feel like I should be doing more. What more would your brain want to do?
Okay, well, there was actually something we missed from the list, I guess, which is I do have a webinar tomorrow, which I guess kind of fits as like a call, but like I need to get that ready. But then like I guess again, like just like time for stuff like this and organizing my business. So my business doesn't feel messy. Um, I feel like once I come up with pillars, I need to redo all my videos for my group. The client like figure out my client results, I guess. So, and then I want to write a book at some point, but that feels like very like in the distance idea. And then obviously there's more like house stuff and all that, right? But I guess within the business, those are all the more things, which actually doesn't sound like as much now that I say it out loud.
Glad. And what we want to do is we want to take your time, and when you increase your funds, what happens is then you replace somebody to do some of these things that, like, okay, it's like if I when I write a book, it's like that is going to bring in this much income. So every time I sit down to write this book, it's going to bring in more income. So when we have a surplus in a cash reserve, then you'll be able to be like, okay, I want to hire somebody for my social.
Uh-huh.
Hire a VA for my responding. Like the content and like the actual things like that, those will be things that we can take away. But
Yeah.
we figure out how we can build that cash reserve in the meantime. It's like, okay, so I want to, my goal is not only just to like have them move the dial forward list, but how much would I need to then take this off my plate to then do these larger other things?
Mm-hmm.
Time is the only resource we can't make more of. But so it's
Right.
like ability with the time, being like, all right, this is the best it's going to be right now. I love this. I'm like, not only am I like okay with this, but like I'm proud of myself for figuring this out. And I know that I'm going to get to work this week to sign some more clients with these things. My intention is always going to be like with the growth and goals, we're going to get to this stuff, but like this stuff is probably not going to take as much time as you think. And we're still going to be able to add it on as we go.
Yeah. What I'm also realizing too, as I say it out loud, that I think also like the stuff my brain's wanting to take time on is it's wanting to think to perfect certain aspects of my business, like, or think about the scheduling versus kind of what you're proposing in scheduling that I could also apply to other areas of business, which is guessing and actually doing it in a smaller amount of time rather than thinking about it for a longer amount of time and being confused about all of it.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. And I wanted you to think about your business as like, it's almost like a science experiment, right? This is my favorite way to think about things. And like, when we like had the scientific method, like back in school, it was like, there would be all these different variables. And it's like my result where I want my business to go, for me, it's a 7-figure business. I'm like, I know that is in the works. I'm creating a 7-figure business right now. And I'm going to do my best guess to hypothesize as a CEO of my business of what pieces are going to be able to get me there. This is going to take a bit. I recognize that. And it's going to get better every single time. But I'm becoming that CEO that I want to be. And I'm like, okay, so I'm just going to hypothesize and go. And it's like, that's what all CEOs are doing, by the way. Like even of very large businesses, they're like, how can I grow? This is my best guess. Let's go with the best guess. For like startups to like huge corporations, they're all trying to figure out how to like what could be done to move the needle forward and organize the back end simultaneously.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. That was really helpful.
Oh my gosh, of course. I'm like, I feel like this is like, if you could think like this and like be like, okay, and how many clients do you want to sign within this next, like, think about like, okay, it's like, okay, I from this webinar that I'm doing tonight, which good luck. It's like, what if I sign like 5 more people from this? Now that I know that I can be really flexible with their times, doesn't feel stressful to sign a client because I think that your brain was like, it's stressful to sign clients because they have to fit in the
Yeah.
box.
Well, I've even been thinking I can't sign one-on-one clients, even though like right now I'm like, actually the cash flow would be really nice to do some one-on-one clients versus just selling the group. But then I've been telling myself I can't because I'm like, I don't have time to do it. So
Like how within the weekday, how many more clients could you take on right now?
I have like 7 right now and they're all about to wrap up. So assuming I could figure out how to fix the nanny situation and like continue to at least have some sporadic hours throughout the week, I could probably at least do 7 still and sign on. And again, like those spots are wrapping up. So because I am managing 7. So
I would say we're going to sell to a wait list for one-on-one. And
Okay.
then how many more people would you want in your group?
well, it's like lifetime, so as many as want to sign up, but I should probably pick a goal.
Cool. It's like having a
I know. Okay, well, my goal for this month was to make 30K.
Okay.
So if I could sign like 5 people into the group, that would be 10K. And then my one-on-one's 5K. So if I could get like 4 one-on-one.
Look at
Those
that.
are like really big numbers, but there you go.
I know. And here's the thing, like for me, my goal with the group is 30.
Okay.
And people joined. I'm like, oh, cool. I'm like, so I learned how to get 10. Now I'm going to try different things and I'll keep trying to get to 30, but it's becoming the kind of person that makes 30K months that I want you to become. And it's like the
Yeah.
kind that makes 30K months also does it with a really flexible and compassionate schedule too. Like you've got.
Yeah. Thank you.
I'm so excited for you. You also like, I would send an email to your list and be like, we are going to have a set, be like, here's a link to sign up for a consult.
Okay.
Like, within and like have that link and put it in the chat for your webinar.
Oh, yes. Okay. Yeah, that's what I was thinking of, maybe like trying to sell people and hopping on a call with me with the webinar more than trying to sell on the webinar to try to get a higher conversion rate.
You could also just put a link to the group because they can just pay for the group right now, right?
Uh-huh.
Again,
What did you say?
how much is the group again?
12 monthly payments of 200 or 1 payment of 2,000. I have had my last webinar, I had 2 people buy off of email. So I have been able to get people to buy off of email and webinar, but it's definitely lower.
And the payment plan and pay in full listed on a website page?
Yeah.
Put that in the chat. Let's just like
Okay.
and be like, okay, we are just going to get all these clients. At least 5 are going to sign up from tonight.
Yeah. I guess maybe what I could do, because I'm also afraid of confusing them with talking about one-on-one and my group.
If you were planning on doing group, stick with group. Focus. Have you had the re-signing call with your one-on-ones?
No, I have never, I heard you talking about that and I was like, I've never done that before.
Yeah. I would say like bring them on and then next week, let's problem solve. If they chose not to renew, that's totally fine. That happens with like so many people. And then we can be like, okay, now we officially have this many spots open and be like,
Okay.
and you can tell them, be like, next week, I'm like announcing one-on-one spots available. I want to make sure that your spot is reserved. So if you that spot, let's talk about like where you see yourself in the next 6 months or however long your program is. And then you'll know. So don't tell the one-on-one spots until, because you might, all 7 might renew.
Yeah. Okay. I have thoughts about that too. But that's probably it for another session.
We'll post about it in the group. Post about it in
Okay.
the group, and I can coach you virtually on that too.
Okay. Yeah, that would be good. Cause yeah, I have drama on the whole like offering people to sign up. A lot of times I'm just like, okay, we're wrapping up. Thanks for working with me. Bye.
What? You my cat.
Yeah.
He's like,
Well, I
wait.
give them access to the group, and my thought is because working with me is expensive, and so like they probably are better off just like using the group after they finish with one-on-ones.
How many people have done this? How many clients have you had do that before you announce it publicly? They've already paid for it. They probably wanted it.
Yeah.
Want it again. Okay, that's your implementation before next week. I want
Okay.
you to do calls, and I also want you to reach out to the one-on-ones and be like, anyone from the past, present, like be like, hey, I'm gonna open it up to everybody. I want you to have first dibs. Like, you could be fully booked with 7 with a wait list through the year. And that would hit your 30K goal, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah.
That like this month, within this week, you could hit your 30K goal for the month if you have them deposit for a wait list.
Oh, that's crazy. Okay.
I was like, do you hear that? I'm like, I think it was your thoughts about them that you were like, oh, they don't want to
Yeah.
keep, but they totally do.
Right. They might. I don't know. I guess because I feel like if my program's working, then they get the result they wanted after the 5 months, and then they don't need to renew.
That's a very helpful thought that we want to keep and also compartmentalize and be like, also, they could get really great results and like think about like they just want to keep progressing with you. That's how I feel about my one-on-ones. I'm like, you got such amazing results here. And I want you to think about like a goal for them. Be like, what would be the next level for them? So like with some of my clients, I'm like, hey, I know that we got like all of this ready, but like I think we could actually make a freebie and we could talk about this. That's like, and for the next level for you, this is something I'm thinking for you. If you want to continue on for the next 6 months, this is what I'm proposing. And like, come think about all 7 of your people and be like, this is what I'm thinking your next area of relationship growth would look like. It's like, I know that you feel good right now. I want to take you to feeling great. And this is
Yeah.
you're also about to get your pillars. I don't know if you've scheduled a call yet, but
No, is the link in the Google?
yeah, girl. And I'll put it in. I can send it to you as well. But like, go ahead and like book a call and be like, I actually am doing like I'm revamping my program and it's a little different. So for people who have finished, be like, I actually revamped the program and I feel like it'd still be a really great fit for you if you're interested.
Yeah.
Like that,
Okay.
you know?
Yeah. I think I definitely like, I need to work on getting my brain to the belief a little more because my brain's like, oh, they're not going to want it.
Yeah. And then we'll just ask other people and that's fine too.
Right. Right. When I do have like consults that have kind of come out of the blue, and I had old clients that like referred me to someone, so like, and she's like, I already think she wants to work with me. And so I'm just like trusting that like more people like that are going to keep coming to me.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
If I could add something, something that I've thought of that, I guess kind of putting myself in a customer's shoes is it's almost more work to start fresh with something new because they have to catch you up to speed on XYZ, what you're already doing, what's not working. But if you're able to retain those customers or those clients, you're really saving them that heartache of having to update everything from the very beginning. So maybe that's a value add that you can give to your existing clients that they won't have to start from ground zero again.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a really good point, actually, because it is a pain to find a new person for sure.
Oh,
yeah. And even like if you're trying to find a new doctor or
Yeah.
a new personal trainer, like there's so many different avenues that is like the barrier to entry for people is
right.
catching up to speed. So that was the one thing I wanted to add.
Thank you.
So freaking good. I love that. Like, cause you're right. The barrier's already done. So it's like, if the 7 say we're actually complete, wonderful. Then you've got the list of all the other humans. You could also offer it in the group before you offer it to the like public too.
Oh, that's true. And I could give them like a discount or something too. Like a special like no.
Oh,
Morgan says yes, Megan says no.
no, you do not need to, because you do not need to discount the value they'd be getting with you. Like, do you see that your brain was like, I'm not worth as much money? It's like that we don't want to go to the discount thought because you
Yeah.
are like it's a steal.
Or like as a, I was thinking of it more as like a, I mean, I do have a lot of thoughts about the money and how expensive my program is that would be really helpful to get coached on. But again, that's like a whole can of worms. But I guess I was thinking of it more like for my group as like a like, hey, as like a special bonus, like since you guys have been with me and I've been working with you, like I just wanted to offer like this one-time thing for you guys if anyone's interested in getting more high-level support.
All right, we'll think about it, ponder it.
Okay.
I'm not saying no. You can do whatever you want in your business, but I'm just saying
Yeah.
that, like, we want to discount your value. It's like you're doing
Okay.
stuff
True.
with this waiting
Okay, thank you, Megan.
Of course, I love you guys so much. This was such a good call. Please let me know if you have any questions. Post your thoughts about money in the stream, and I will see you guys next week. Okay. All right.
Bye, everyone.